Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. If I cannot even pronounce the full word podcast, we were in trouble. So, on our last podcast, I was talking about setting up boundaries because in some cases, some individuals will not be respectful of those. And I did acknowledge something because I didn't talk about one story. I didn't even wrote a blog about it actually about some individual then I met and realizing that danger can be around the corner. You never know who you're meeting in your life. You never know what kind of life lessons you're going to learn. Some red flag shows, some don't immediately. But when it comes down to substance abuse, and it doesn't matter if it's drug, if it's alcohol, whatever it is, you have to be cautious of individuals and you have to make sure you are safe at any given time. Now, talking about setting up boundaries, it's to me essential for everybody to be mindful and respectful of each other's. Some individuals will take your boundaries for granted or don't assume you have any because of the behavior you have, which is kindness, which is empathy. And I remember that last year when I was going through the rubbles of my condo and trying to move on to the next level where I needed to be, to the while I was transitioning, beginning of my transition from my home to where I need to be or where I'm going or where I am, was to make peace with the entire situation of, yes, I didn't start the fire. Yes, somebody else has started the fire. And having to basically do the funeral of my own life, which is pretty dramatic when everything is gone and you feel like everything got erased. Your entire life doesn't exist anymore. That was one of the biggest shocker at the end of last year. And keep going, because when you have little ones, it doesn't matter if it's dogs or cat or whatever you've got and or children's, you have to get going for your loved ones. Then you're going to meet people along the way. And I met one person, a very interesting individual who had an interesting life and was actually turning himself around, making better choices, blah, blah, blah. Well, dealing with people with addiction, health, mental health issues, especially when you are not in full observance of what's going to happen or what are their trigger because you see them in a better light or in situation where they're not triggers, that could be another life lessons. And the one that happened, that's why I said set up boundaries, was for the past 6 months, having the understanding of how grounded you can be and what can you do in time of stress, distress, or being threatened. And I'm talking your life being threatened. Somebody who has a blade that is about 10 inch long. I'm not talking a little, we call it an opinel, or a little Swiss Army knife. I am talking a 10-inch blade carrying with him at all time. Then going into a very stressful moment, mental breakdown, and projecting everything he has, even if you're not that individual who have done anything at all, but you are unfortunately the punching bag in that situation. The person is going to project everything towards you So their vision of things are being distorted. Then you see somebody moving that long blade around you, even taking it and put it into the wood. It could be a frame around the door, or it could be near you or on the table, and just slam it in there. Putting it so close to your face, you're like, okay, I'm gonna be skinned alive, or what is going on here? Dealing with somebody that can go and blow up a fuse in less than a minute and becoming extremely dangerous. Realizing that, okay, I have a minute to react here, what am I gonna do? And you try to defuse the bomb, because this become a bomb. And it's late in the evening, and you're going to be up until 6:30 in the morning to defuse that bomb, because that individual is restless, scaring your dog, scaring you, but you're keeping a calm demeanor, because if you show any sign of being scared, this could trigger this individual even more. So I've gone through once, and that was a period of 6 weeks that this happened. Actually, it was extremely intense. It was a very short period of time, but I'm like, holy crap. And you're stuck with this individual, unfortunately, and you're trying to find a way to get that individual out of your life, out of your place. You're staying. It is not moving. And you're like, oh boy, what do I do? Then you're starting to walk on eggs, because you're realizing this person is unstable. Now you're not going to call them cuckoo for Cocoa Puff, because again, you want to make sure you're safe. You want to make sure the people around you are safe. You're not going to be able to call the cops. You're not going to be able to do what you normally should be doing because of what could happen next. And looking in their eyes, you see pure madness, pure evil. So you understand that every word, every gestures, everything you do, they will feel it's a trigger, an attack. So you're making a plan to have that person leaving your space. It's going to take some time. Like I said, it took 6 weeks. Then they decide one evening, until you start to put your boundaries down again, forcing those boundaries actually, that they want to go and have a drink at the bar. And and you realize very quickly, 2 things trigger them: the alcohol and mommy dearest, because they have a mommy dearest that triggers them. And every single time they talk to their mom, then he has a breakdown, and he's spiraling down to the point that he put everything in your face. So what do? You try to defuse the bomb. They decide they wanted to go to a bar. So you go to the bar. They're going to have one drink. Out of the blue, he's going to be talking to the regulars, asking them that, oh, I'm not from here, but she's staying here, so can you take care of her? And you're like, are you freaking kidding me? What the frick is wrong with you? So you feel humiliated by that. That you want to get out of over there because you have something else better to do. But you're the one who drove. He's there. You deal with him. You're not having fun. You're not liking it. You are going to stop the car because you're getting tired, ready to go. Somehow over the rainbow, this individual is going to try to take a beef with somebody, another gentleman in there. And you have no idea what happened, but you can feel the air has changed when you come back. And you're like, what the heck happened? And he's outside, pacing and moaning, ready to go to war. And you're like, no, you're not. I said, we're going to go and leave now. You leave? And what happened in the car after that? Not pretty. He goes nuts. He starts to punch everything that he can punch. Not yourself, luckily. Get back where you are, where you're staying, and go in rampage. In rampage, because everything has to go again about the trigger he had at the beginning of the evening. That was mommy dearest, and you need to release that stress one way or the others. And it's on you. Again, using the blade. And this time, he's going to push one step further. Imagine for a sec, you're trying to protect your dogs or your loved ones. Doesn't matter if it's a dog or not. And that individual is going to accuse you of everything. From cheating, from past things that happened, how you changed, which you did not. Everything becomes your fault. Then seeing you're standing your ground, you're a few feet from this individual, he's gonna get up and put his hand on you by pushing you, which you are not in his way. But that was a way to trigger you so it could justify to punch you in the face. Now he cannot do it because you are not moving, you are not raising anything, you let it be. And you're praying to the universe that it doesn't last until 6 o'clock in the morning. Started around 10. Within an hour and a half, you're able to disengage that person, finally. Until he has a meltdown. And the next day, nothing happened. You're able to get that person out of your life. Finally. For good. So you look at your life and you're like, well, been going through a lot of things here, but you set your boundaries. And that person did not like it either. Because you were nice. You were this at the beginning and you changed. No, I did not change. I just don't appreciate what you have done. And you're not going to have access to me at all. They want to help you. Here's a very easy pattern that you can recognize. Because that happened with the other narcissist that I dealt with before. And they're going to create a chaos. They're going to create an argument. And if you're quick enough, you're realizing right away, he's not going to help. He's going to insult you and leave, but never going to help you. And hoping you're going to beg. But you're smarter than that because you can do things on your own. So you do everything. Set up a fence, fix doors, toilet, whatever needs to be done. Then they have the audacity when later on you're seeing each other just for a dinner that they offer you. You don't go and chase after them at all. You're done with that. And they have the audacity to say while you're eating the dinner, well, we always end up fighting and I could not help you. Then you look at them and said, let's correct that situation, okay? The last time that happened, you gave information you wanted to sleep in the morning, you wanted to do this. Came the Saturday morning, you sat down on a chair and trigger a fight or attempt to trigger a fight. And I walked away with the dog. By the time I came back, he told me to F myself. And you left. So no. You trigger all of this. I did not. But as you can see, I delivered my projects like I needed to have it done. So you have to look at individuals that are part of your life or come in your life to teach you a lesson, but also showing you how strong you are without showing your emotions, how to disengage with somebody that could put your life in danger, because when somebody plays with a 10-inch blade, you know that could go very easily in your body like you're cutting butter. You start to ask yourself, okay, I need to do something different and I need this out of my life immediately. You know you're going to have to do it in a way that doesn't trigger that person, meaning AKA, I don't want to end up dead, neither my dog's dead, neither the people that I love dead, because you are too dangerous and don't want to take care of yourself. And that individual doesn't want to take care of their own problem. They know they have problems, but they rather take somebody else's as a project. Okay? They will preach to do not drink alcohol when they are drunk. They will preach to drug addicts to do not take drugs when they do take drugs. They will preach to everybody because they want to preach, but they do not clean up their own backyard. I always said I'm not here to save you. I don't save people here. You save yourself. Somebody who wants to change will take the step with the support of others to get it done. Coming along, criticizing somebody every time you have a drink or a sip of a drink to blame somebody doesn't sit well with me. Maybe some people take more abuse. Been there, done that, won't do that again. You have to know who you are. And don't surround yourself with people who are going to try to drown you every minute of the day because they did not get their way. I've been amazed of the journey I had since I lost Jay, my bro Jay. It has been, I will say, a shit show. The nights, the dark night of the soul, and not in a good way. To the point that I almost didn't make it on the other side, literally. And I'm serious when I say that. Shit that happened one after one after one after one. I have closed the doors to a lot of people in order to gain my peace. And I have something else better to do. I don't like groupies. I had to deal with one. And that wasn't a pretty one. I will say that I've seen crazy, but at that level, I'm like, holy crap. Those people are crazy, literally. You leave them alone. You don't try to resonate with somebody who's not stable. I have seen people who are insane. Literally, and you could see in their eyes. They could have killed you. Literally insane. And you have to disengage. Like I said, it's a grenade. You got the pin in one hand. You got the grenade in the other hand. And you're praying to God, I'm going to put that freaking pin back in and get that crazy out. Because I am not dealing with this shit show. Not my monkey, not my circus. Sometimes you have to be tested to see if you're going to go back to some absolutely insane situation. But in a shorter amount of time, and you're like, no, thank you, pass. I've been there, I've done that, don't want to do that again. I do not want to have to deal with that. You have to make the right choice in your life. Am I going to go to Crazy Land and bring the circus in town and that horrifying monkey? No. I love my peace and quiet. I want my fun. This is my era of fun, not monkey and circuses. Violence. And I talked to somebody actually about it, and that person was horrified. I said, you do not say this is in confidence. Don't talk about it to anyone. And because I just gave her the veil a little bit. And she said, well, why you did not talk to such and such? I said, I would not, because when that person went crazy, he would have easily harmed anyone. And I said, I don't have time for that. I had to do what I got to do. It took me time, but I got that person out. It took me weeks. It took me a few weeks to get it out, set up the boundaries, set up what I needed to say, and got that person out of my life, out of where I was. He's 300-400 miles away from me, and I don't care. He went to the same circus because the last conversation I had with him, and I told him he was a freaking idiot, actually, decided to go save the ex-wife who's a junkie. And I'm like, well, you know what? That's your monkey, your circus. You were with her over 30 years ago, and you think you can save that junkie? Good luck with that. Done. Don't have time to listen to any stories about that because I don't care. Not my monkey, not my circus. Do not want to be dragged into these sordid stories. But you have to set up your boundaries. Sometimes people appear a certain way. You have to let the crack shows. And sometimes it doesn't appear right away. Sometimes we're busy with our life, so we don't know until we spend more time with some individuals and the veil of truth will show. Because all of the red flags were not set right away at all. It took mid-January for those to show up. It started at the end of December a little bit, but it really amplified in January. And by March, beginning of March, gone like the wind. Again, not my monkey, not my circus. So be careful of the flags. Be careful of the people. Listen what they're saying. Understand. Read between the lines. And sometimes, like I said, you need to spend a little bit more time to know who they truly are. In my case, I totally surprised myself when that night it was a pass or a break. And I knew it. For me and my dogs. I will not be here today, I believe, if I did not do what I did. And I was very calm. And I was able, and I thought it took me the entire night, an hour and a half to disengage with that person. An hour and a half for him to break down and cry like a baby until he calmed down. When he came down, stop, it was like, thank God. When I looked at the clock, I'm like, oh, hour and a half. I thought that was the entire night. So much energy I pulled into it. But the danger was real. So you have to make sure when you're dealing with volatile situation, you don't let your emotions playing. Because when he pushed me, he put his hand on me and pushed me. It wasn't a little tap. It was a push to start a fight. I did not react it. I looked at him and I said, I'm not in your way. Why would you push me? Why would you do this? And I said to him, okay, let's talk about your situation. What is going on with you? And you go to the psychology in order to disengage the situation. But you need to be in a place of being grounded, being able to see what you're facing as danger. No, it wasn't fun for 5 minutes. For an hour and a half plus in my damn car, it wasn't fun. Seeing somebody punching everywhere, I'm like, holy crap, he's going to punch me in the face. What the frick is he going to do? Break my door? I'm like, I will skin him alive if he does that. But I said that in my head. But I'm like, holy crap. And on and on and on, and the screaming and the yelling and the blaming. And you realize all of these attacks have nothing to do with you. It's somebody who's a child. It was, by looking at him, it was his inner child crying because of the pain, because of the sexual abuse he had when he was a kid, because of who he was and trying to make peace with it, to improve his own self. But living between two worlds is the hardest part to do. He decided to regress, but that's his call. Again, I'm not here to save him. I'm not here to save you. You're not here to save me. You're not here to save anyone. If you're ready to make the changes, that's how you save yourself. And as I said, people will come along and support you in your journey. But nobody else should be supporting you on their shoulders. He made the choice that he made, and I hope best for him, but he needs mental help. Asking support from a therapist, from anyone, a counselor that can help you, there is no shame into it. What is shameful is when you need help and you think by taking somebody else as a project, you're going to help them, but you're not helping yourself. You make it even worse because you're trying to project something on them that will not help them. Think about that. So I wanted to share that story today because I didn't write about it. Strangely enough, if you go on edgintuitive.com, you will see the story of the narcissist. I even I reread actually one of them because I needed to, it wasn't the story wasn't completely wrapped up the way it was supposed to be. So you can read about the story of the narcissist because that's a true story. But this one I did not share it. I am doing it right now because it's time to set the boundaries. It's time to close the doors for people that are here to teach us life lessons, but also they are not supposed to be camping here. Clearing up who you got around you helped you to move to the next level. And I'm telling you, I took the trash, and at every level you can take it, and it's all removed and in a dumpster and gone like the wind. But this one was, I think, one of the most horrifying nights I had, knowing that if I was making the wrong move, saying the wrong things, that blade would have come in my body and cut my skin like butter. I would have been gone. I would have been done. So when you know that you come that close to be in danger with your life, then you have to learn to remove. And I am blessed in one way because in time of high survival emergencies or any kind of high level stress, I remove my emotion from the equation, so I see what I'm supposed to do and see all of the pieces of the puzzles and which way I'm supposed to go. Because I would have been as emotional than he was, this would have not turned out the way it did. And something that people don't realize. Some people say, well, why you didn't call the cops? Because I would have called the cops, I would have been gone by the time I even reached the button, even dial 911. It would have been even worse for the cops. It would have been a bloodbath. And it would have been something that I don't think would have been a good idea. So it's being able to know who you are, being able to be grounded, being able to really assess the danger, assess everything you see, and really make the right decision without rushing it. But when you're looking at people surrounding you in your life, you really have to make those choices. And sometimes it takes time to know who they are. It took time for me to discover who he was because it wasn't showing at the beginning. And I was extremely careful, actually, when that happened. When I met him, I was careful. I saw he was a very strong person mentally, which was very strong person, meaning typical Taurus, extremely stubborn. But I had no issue with that because I can deal with strong people because I'm a strong one too. But understanding their past when you don't know who they are and discovering mental issues that doesn't show. You don't know what kind of medication they are. You don't know what their traumas are, but you're discovering this as you go along the way. Make you think twice. And for this individual, I never felt we would be friends for a long time either. But the way it went down really shows if you have the capability to handle this level or more of stress and how to disengage with those individuals to the point that their anger goes from 10 to 0. That's the art of negotiation, the art of understanding, the art of figuring it out when they have their walls up. Where is the crack in order for me to start to engage? And that's what I did. Took an hour and a half, but that wasn't that bad. So this was our podcast for today. I know it's a Friday. It's like, oh, Emma, you're heavy on this one. But you have to think about it, okay? Think about the groupies. Think about how volatile a situation can go and how quickly you can put yourself from path of danger to safety and ensuring that at the end of the day you make the right decision on your own safety and who surrounds you regardless of who they are. So all my love, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go
Podcast. Universe Podcast.